How to Be Yours is directed by Dan Villegas, written by Patrick John Valencia and Jairo Aguinaldo, and stars Bea Alonzo, Gerald Anderson, and Bernard Palanca. And How to Be Yours is about Ange and Nino, played by Bea Alonzo and Gerald Anderson respectively. Ange is a small-time cook, while Nino is a successful salesman. They fall in love one day, and Nino encourages Ange to pursue a bigger career as a chef. Things look great for them in the relationship, but simply put, life just gets in the way. Now, I wasn't really planning on watching this movie, but it was always on my radar because I am a fan of Dan Villegas' movies, some more than others, and I am a big fan of Bea Alonzo. I think from the local romantic comedies that I've seen, I haven't seen too many of them, but from the ones that I've seen, she really is, like, for me, the best. And so imagine my surprise watching this movie and discovering that I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. I think there are some cliche things that keep the movie from being truly great, but I think it's just so realistically written and tremendously well acted by its two leads. How to Be Yours is, in my opinion, the most real thing that Star Cinema has put out in a long time from a writing standpoint, because the story here is so free from any unnecessary drama. You know, there's no love triangles, there's no crazy diseases, there's no foul play really from either of the two leads. This is a romance film that really just kind of shows the difficulty of maintaining a relationship when the two parties have different priorities. And you know, it's not like they're trying to bring the other person down. It's just, you know, life gets in the way, like I said. And I really like this because so many of our local rom-coms have this kind of romanticized view of relationships wherein, you know, it should work out perfectly if not for like this third party or this factor. But this movie really acknowledges the fact that a relationship on its own is difficult enough as it is. And what really sells this movie for me is the fact that there are no stupid characters here. And like Gerald Anderson's character and Bea Alonzo's character, they don't really do anything dumb to compromise the relationship with the other person. In fact, they're both doing great. I mean, sure, you might disagree with some of their decisions, especially if you can relate to them, but you can't say that you don't understand where they're coming from. This movie does a great job of building up their emotions, so at the, well, not at the end, but when they have to sit down and talk about the relationship, you can feel just so much weight on both sides. You know what each person is going through, and you understand that they've just reached a point where they can't really choose, and they don't really know where to go in life. You know, they're not perfect characters. They make mistakes, but these mistakes are influenced by good intentions. One other thing that I really like about the writing in this movie is that the jobs that Ange and Nino have kind of make sense for their characters. You know, Ange isn't just a chef just because, and Nino isn't just a salesman just because. Like, these occupations actually give these characters tangible challenges for them to get over. And the dialogue in this movie really is just so good. Every single conversation that you have in this movie really adds to the characters. Every single conversation sounds like it has to be there. And that's something I think a lot of local rom-coms forget nowadays. You know, we shouldn't just fall in love with these characters because they're played by familiar actors. Like, we have to understand them, get to know them as people, and this movie does that so well. The entire supporting cast in this movie is good as well. It's tough to make these like friend characters, the token friend characters, like not annoying for me, but here they were actually genuinely funny. Especially, I looked up his name, Brian C., who is this guy who doesn't say a word the entire movie, but his facial expressions are so funny. Bernard Palanca plays Ange's eventual boss, like this head chef, and he played it believably, like he was kind of like Gordon Ramsay, but I like where they went with this character eventually. And then you've got Gerald Anderson, who, when I saw him in the trailer, I was thinking it doesn't even look like he's trying to act, but in the movie they make it work. You know, he has this boyish charm, which comes off as very genuine, which is important because when he begins to feel pain later on, it also feels genuine. But Bea Alonzo, man, like, she is the best part of this movie. She completely sells her character at every stage of development she's in, and you know, whether she's vulnerable and crying or standing up for herself and shouting, like, you really feel her. And in my opinion, it's kind of rare for a local romantic comedy to stand out visually, but this movie really does well with its production design. There are a lot of little touches on set that really give each place like this sense of history, this lived-in quality. You know, it's like names on the side of the wall to really show you that these housemates have been living together for a long time. Like, just those little things make you more invested in the story. The cinematography is great as well. It really shines and accentuates the dreamlike quality of falling in love. And the music is really good as well, although it might be like one song montage too long. And that is one of my few issues that I have with How to Be Yours. Like, there are some obligatory parts in the movie that feel like they had to be there because it's a Star Cinema rom-com, and these parts parts feel a bit too stretched out. Like, they didn't need to be that long, especially given the realistic take for the rest of the movie. The movie also starts very abruptly, but for the most part, it's very well paced. You know, there's this genuine tension as well whenever these two characters have to talk seriously. And I really like that we get to spend equal time with both of these protagonists. You know, you don't side with one or the other. And I really liked how Dan Villegas' direction in this movie came off as very naturalistic. He really allowed the actors to carry the scenes without, you know, trying to interrupt the scene with like little dramatic touches that make everything feel artificial. A couple parts do feel a bit too much like music videos, and the ending is a bit too cheesy for me. I think the ending kind of goes against like what the rest of the movie is building up to. But in the end, I think How to Be Yours is a really good Filipino movie. In fact, I think it's the best Filipino movie I've seen so far this year, and it's definitely the best of Dan Villegas' works that I've seen, so please do go check it out. Alright, so those are my thoughts on How to Be Yours. Have you guys seen it? What do you think about it? Whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.